Chapter 1171. After returning from the Zhuang family, Ningxi immediately went to Platinum Palace to keep Big and Little Bun's company. The next day, the family of three went to Ocean Park together. After a short break, they immediately threw themselves into the path of earning money. During this period of time, Zailing had been progressing at a tremendous pace. In terms of market share, it had already begun to surpass history. However, history was being doubted by the media and the public. Ever since the few stunning and famous works that made history famous, history began to go downhill. After that, the new designs that were released one after another could not reach the quality of the famous works. Some of them even copied their own famous works, which made the consumers very dissatisfied. On the other hand, history's biggest rival, Zailing, continued to work hard. Almost every once in a while, there would be a new item on the shelves. From the design and quality of the clothing, it was very balanced, which also won Zailing many loyal fans. In the comments section of history's official Weibo, there would be people questioning history almost every day. This caused a large number of loyal fans to be dissatisfied and even insult them. Zailing is nothing. It's just a knockoff that imitates history's design concept. To the top of the commenter, if it wasn't for history's stunning debut and opening up the market, Zailing would not even exist now. Every industry has a bottleneck. Designers are not gods. Inspiration takes time to gather. What a bunch of trash. Are they all hired by Zailing? What do you mean by history plagiarizing Zailing's design ideas? Do you even know that when history became famous, Zailing was still nowhere to be found? In my opinion, plagiarism is true, but it was Zailing who plagiarized history's design ideas. History was magnanimous enough to let it go. And now they even dare to make a false accusation. What a trashy brand. Only a trashy person would like a trashy brand like Zailing. I think it's better to speak with facts. History's first few famous works were indeed stunning. They allowed history to easily take over the market and build a brand. But look at the old designs that Zailing released earlier. They are indeed very similar to history's famous works, but they have more charm. This is something that history didn't manage to do. Maybe the plagiarism is not groundless. After all, plagiarism doesn't depend on whose brand is famous first. To the top of the commenter, you must be Zailing. If you type these words, Zailing will give you a lot of money. Penthouse plus 10,086. What a joke. History's group of brainless fans are like mad dogs, biting whoever they catch. They have no sense at all, biting whoever they catch. Hee, I laughed. I just want to tell Zailing that I bought a watch last year. You Zailing idiots are purebred idiots. The loyal supporters of Zailing and history had exploded on Weibo in the past few days, and even made it to the top search list. History headquarters. Ning Xuelua looked at the Weibo posts on her phone. They were all about history and Zailing currently. The news on the internet was overwhelming. Most of the spearheads were pointing at Zailing's plagiarism of history's works. Seeing more and more netizens joining the crusade, Ning Xuelua's mouth involuntarily curled up. Dai Wei, how's Han Zhao's design coming along? Ning Xuelua put down her phone and asked Dai Wei. This. Dai Wei was stunned for a moment before he shook his head, indicating that he did not know. Ever since Han Zhao came to history, he had completely dominated the design department. Even the employees of the design department were chased out by Han Zhao. In the entire design department, only Han Zhao remained. Chapter 1172. Dai Wei didn't want to have any contact with Han Zhao, so he rarely went to the design department. Ning Xuelua knew how to strike while the iron was hot. Most of the netizens on the internet thought that Zailing was plagiarizing. If Han Zhao could design high-quality clothes during this time, he might have a chance to crush Zailing. Follow me to the design department. Ning Xuelua walked straight out of the office and headed to the design department. Dai Wei had no choice but to follow Ning Xuelua. A moment later, in the design department of history, the originally snow-white wall had been messily drawn by Han Zhao with a brush, and these drawings were all very difficult to understand. Mr. Han Zhao, when can you show me your work? Ning Xuelua stared at Han Zhao, who was sitting on the office chair, and asked with a smile. Han Zhao raised his cap and ignored Ning Xuelua. He only glanced at the drawings on the table. Ning Xuelua got the signal and immediately walked forward. She spread out the drawings and looked at them carefully. A moment later, Ning Xueluo's eyes glowed with surprise. There were a total of 10 blueprints, each of which represented the 10 components of the clothing. If one were to look at them individually, they would look very ordinary, and there was nothing eye-catching about them. However, after the 10 blueprints were combined, Han Zhao's clothing finally appeared in Ning Xuelua and Dai Wei's eyes. This was a complete blueprint, and its contents seemed to have an irresistible charm. Just a single glance would cause one to be completely immersed in it. Darkness, pain, and death. The overall artistic style is supernatural, forming an inexplicable sense of decadence. The details of the writing add witchcraft, the abyss, the dark night, curses, loneliness, and despair. It makes people feel like they have gone to the Avicii hell. Dai Wei looked at the completed blueprint seriously, and cold sweat appeared on his forehead. This was a completely different style of dark elements, bringing the foreign elements to the extreme. However, this kind of dark style was not unacceptable. Whether it was the color processing or the details, it could be said to be perfect. Even if an ordinary woman wore this kind of clothes, her temperament would definitely be greatly enhanced. That inexplicable coldness would probably increase an invisible and strong aura. It's so beautiful. Most importantly, it was too special and eye-catching. It was definitely in line with the mentality of the masses. A glint flashed across Ning Xuelua's eyes. She had seen similar designs like Han Zhao's in the market, which were designed with darkness and death as the main theme. But to put it bluntly, they were all claptrap. From the overall design point of view, it would make people feel uncomfortable and a little fearful, not to mention that no one would actually wear them. On the other hand, the one Han Xiao designed had a completely different feeling. Although it was filled with a strong color of despair, it didn't have the slightest hint of blood. On the contrary, it had an extremely noble and ancient flavor of the mysterious Eastern culture. Even Ning Xueluo herself could not help but want to possess him. How long have you been working on it? Ning Xueluo reluctantly withdrew her gaze and looked at Han Xiao as she asked. What's the meaning of this question? Han Xiao asked. I'm just curious, said Ning Xueluo. Then hold back your curiosity. Han Zhao's face was expressionless, but there was a bone-piercing chill in his eyes. Chapter 1173. Han Zhao's attitude made Ning Xueluo unhappy, but Han Xiao was not Dai Wei, nor was he an employee of history. Furthermore, she still had to borrow Han Zhao's hand to send Zai Ling into the abyss, so she could only endure it for now. Mr. Han, please don't mind me. I was just asking. I admire Mr. Han Zhao's design very much, so I plan to mass-produce it. Ning Xueluo looked at the design again. After a few breaths, Ning Xueluo frowned. She didn't pay much attention to it before, but now she found an obvious flaw. A part of Rakshas's design was missing some limbs. Mr. Han Xiao, there are some flaws in your design. Ning Xueluo placed the design in front of Han Xiao and pointed out the flaw. Upon seeing this, Han Xiao stood up. His emotionless eyes fell on Ning Xueluo. For some reason, Ning Xueluo's entire body stiffened when Han Xiao sized her up. How can a rookie like you who doesn't know shit understand what a flaw is? The corners of Han Zhao's mouth rose slightly, forming a devilish smile. There is no such thing as a perfect design. Perfection is itself imperfect. Since that is the case, why should we rack our brains and pretend to be as perfect as possible? Yes. Brother Han Xiao is absolutely right. The boss is just concerned about Brother Han Xiao. Don't take it to heart. Haha. Dai Wei felt a chill in his heart. Even if he offended Ning Xueluo, he wouldn't dare to offend Han Xiao. Moreover, the boss wasn't proficient in this field, and he actually went to question Han Zhao's work. When the time came, this lunatic Han Xiao would be provoked, and then she would know what a flaw was. What she was most afraid of most was that when the time came, the innocent would be harmed, and she would also be ruined by Han Xiao. Brother Han Zhao's design must be trying to express that perfection is a kind of beauty, and that the simple acknowledgement of flaws is a kind of beauty. Dai Wei flattered with a smile. What do you know? Han Xiao lowered his cap again. It's just that I'm too lazy to continue designing flaws. Hearing that, Dai Wei's face darkened. He felt extremely awkward. This Han Xiao was too direct. Then, Mr. Han, what do you mean? Ning Xuelua asked tentatively. Ning Xuelua didn't know what to do either. Even if it was a little damaged, it couldn't stop the charm of the clothes. However, she didn't know what Han Xiao meant. This person's personality was too strange. History can produce these clothes, but the quantity cannot exceed 50, Han Xiao said faintly. 50? Limited? My works are meant for appreciation, not for profit, do you understand? Han Xiao said coldly. Alright, I understand. We'll produce 50 of them first. Ning Xuelua thought about it and finally agreed. In any case, as long as Han Xiao stayed in their company, there would definitely be a lot of such works in the future. Even if the quantity was small, it was nothing. Instead, it would greatly improve the quality of history. Mr. Han Xiao, may I know what this robe should be called? Ning Xuelua asked before leaving. Black Faith. This was Han Xiao's reply. Very soon, the Black Faith created by Han Xiao was finally produced by history. There were no more, no less, a total of 50 pieces. As for the first Black Faith, it was Ning Xueluo's personal collection. Following that, Ning Xuelua invited major fashion magazines and influential fashion media to visit history's latest works. Chapter 1174. Black Faith seemed to have a special magic. Each piece had a different color and style. Once the media released it, all the socialites in the capital went to history, intending to buy it. However, history released the news that only 50 pieces of Black Faith would be produced. It was a limited edition and would not be sold for the time being. In just a few days, the price of each piece of Black Faith had reached 7 digits. Moreover, because of Black Faith, history's turnover had increased greatly, making history popular. Now the limited edition of Black Faith was pushed to first place on Weibo's hot search list. Since the release of Black Faith, Zailing had been slandered even more. Zailing, what a joke. Saying that history has run out of talent and can't design a decent work. Did you guys eat Black Faith? My history is ready to go. No wonder people don't bother with Zailing. They're not on the same level at all. Do you understand Black Faith? A 7-digit price, limited to 50 pieces worldwide. Do you understand? History is the real sentiment. If Black Faith was mass-produced, what would you Zailing do? I feel sorry for my history, being bitten by Zailing's dog. You don't know how to be grateful. History's internet water army, don't be too full of yourself. Black Faith is indeed very good, but no one can tell what will happen in the future. Zailing's dog, don't talk nonsense. Where's the dog that said history has run out of talent? Isn't it coming out to bite us now? Zailing is too shameless. She exudes a disgusting smell. Not only did she plagiarize history's famous work, she even said that history has run out of talent. With the release of Black Faith, this is a slap in the face. Pa pa pa. This time, history's fans were really arrogant for a long time after the production of Black Faith. Zailing's momentum was quickly suppressed. Almost half of the fans even shouted for Zailing to quickly design a new product and sell Black Faith. Otherwise, they would become anti-fans. Zailing's office. Ningxi stared at Black Faith in the fashion magazine and couldn't help but frown. Impossible. Gong Shangzi stared at the magazine in his hand. Dai Wei could never design such a work. What do you mean? Ningxi heard something from Gong Shangzi's words. If Dai Wei had this ability, would he still need to steal Gong Shangzi's work? I don't know either. Gong Shangzi shook his head, his face full of doubt. But I can be sure that Dai Wei would not have this ability. I think that someone is helping history. Whether or not someone is helping history, Black Faith already exists. This is a fatal blow to us. Recently, history's market share has surpassed ours. If this continues, it's definitely not a good thing. Ningxi said in a low voice. Isn't it just Black Creed? Director Gong, you designed White Faith and completely defeated history. Han Momo stepped forward and made a cup of coffee for Ningxi. Then she looked at Gong Shangzi and encouraged him. It's not easy. A cold glint flashed in Gong Shangzi's eyes. It's no coincidence that Black Faith is so popular. This piece of clothing uses the mysterious dark elements of the ancient East and perfectly incorporates Buddhism's life, death, and reincarnation. It can already be considered a top-grade item. Hearing that, Han Momo was a little surprised. Was black faith so powerful? Even Gong Shangzi said it would be very difficult to surpass him. Chapter 1175. Moreover, these clothes are completely aimed at our Zailing. They are two completely different extreme styles. Using one extreme style to crush the other extreme style. Just who is this person? Gong Shangzi clenched his fists tightly. Ningxi didn't know much about fashion design, but as a woman, she knew how to appreciate it. She had to say that she liked the overall style of black faith very much. If it wasn't produced by history, she would find a way to buy one. Boss, give me some time. Gong Shangzi looked serious. I believe you. Ningxi smiled. This time it seemed that Gong Shangzi had met his match. However, it wasn't a bad thing to have an opponent. Only with an opponent could one make breakthroughs and progress. However, Ningxi was very curious as to which great Buddha history had invited to help them deal with Zailing. According to Gong Shangzi, black faith was completely aimed at Zailing. It wanted to defeat Zailing with extreme style. After leaving the company, Ningxi was a little annoyed and wanted to find something to vent her troubled thoughts. She didn't know if it was because of black faith, but a person flashed in Ningxi's mind, a person whose temperament was incomparably compatible with black faith. So she dialed a number. What's up? A lazy voice came from the phone. What are you doing? Ningxi asked with a smile. Nothing. Abstinence, practicing martial arts. Ningxi. Han Xiao, speak properly or I'll slap you in the face. Ningxi couldn't help but scold him. How much do you hate your hand? Aren't you afraid of breaking it? Don't talk nonsense. Come and teach me a few moves, Ningxi said. Is this the favor you got last time? No. It wasn't easy for this guy to owe someone a favor. How could he pay it back so easily? Oh, then I won't go. Don't be stingy. I'll treat you to KFC. Where are you? I'll be right there. Ningxi. If someone was willing to treat him to a meal, Han Xiao would definitely come as promised. He wouldn't be late for even half a second, not to mention it was his favorite KFC. Looking at Han Xiao's table manners and appetite, Ningxi shook her head secretly. God gave him such a beautiful face for nothing. Give me 5 more New Orleans grilled chicken wings. Han Xiao said, still not satisfied. Stop eating. I'll take you to a good place. Without waiting for Han Xiao to finish eating, Ningxi pulled Han Xiao up and stuffed him into the car. A moment later, at the Taekwondo dojo, Han Xiao looked at those flowery but impractical moves in bewilderment. This is the good place you told me about. Come, great God, quickly teach me a few moves. Ningxi had a look of worship on her face. Although this Han Xiao was a lunatic, his battle prowess was unquestionable. Damn it. Every time she trained with second senior brother, she was despised in all kinds of ways. She must come up with a killer move or two to counterattack. I'm not interested in fighting in front of these trash. Han Xiao didn't buy it at all, and sat lazily on the ground. Brat, who are you calling trash? In the next second, a few burly students quickly walked forward. The one who spoke was a fatty. Looking at his size, he looked like he couldn't even beat 100 kilograms. I'm sorry, my friend was just joking, Ningxi explained. It's none of your business. The fatty stepped forward and pushed Ningxi away. Brat, I'm asking you a question. Who did you call trash just now? The few of them surrounded Han Xiao. At this moment, Han Xiao's face was filled with confusion. His gaze swept across the surroundings before landing on the tall and fat student. And he said, I'm not targeting anyone. I'm just saying that everyone here is trash, not just you. Don't be angry. Chapter 1176. Are you fucking courting death? The fat student was enraged and lifted Han Xiao up from the ground. This bastard, how dare he act in front of a woman? You idiot, I'll slap you so hard that even your mother won't recognize you. Seeing that Han Xiao was lifted up, a few students cursed loudly. Seeing this, Ningxi covered her face with her hands. This guy was too good at stirring up trouble. Fatty, listen to me and let go of me. Han Xiao smiled at the tall and fat student. Who are you calling fatty? I'll kill you with one punch, you idiot. The fat student was furious. Fatty, do you believe that I can beat you to death with a single finger? The smile on Han Xiao's face disappeared. You're fucking courting death. The fat student threw a punch at Han Xiao's face. However, before the punch could reach Han Xiao, a finger flashed past. Before Han Xiao's finger reached Han Xiao, the force of the finger blew the fat student's hair up. The finger landed on the fat student's lower abdomen. The students who were watching the commotion did not know what had happened, but they saw the fat student, who weighed at least 200 kilograms, fly out. Bang! The fat student fell to the ground with both hands clutching his lower abdomen, crying out in pain. See, I've already told you, but you didn't believe me. This fat kid can't take a beating. Han Xiao sat back on the ground and laughed. Seeing this, everyone in the Taekwondo dojo was completely dumbfounded. That man who looked like a woman really used one finger to send that tall and fat student flying with one finger? What kind of monster is that guy? He used one finger to send Wei Chang flying? Martial arts. Inner force? Fuck, don't tell me this is a fucking time travel from ancient times. Have you watched too many TV dramas? What the fuck? This small body actually has such a huge explosive force. Could it be force? Force? What force? You don't understand. I read it in an ancient book. Humans cultivate their strength, and then they cultivate their form. When the form reaches the extreme, it becomes martial arts. Only when the martial arts reach the extreme will there be strength. There are things like hidden strength, peak strength, and the cultivation of qi. A middle-aged man in his 40s or 50s explained. Fuck, Brother Liang, don't make it sound so magical. Is there really such a thing? You brats are so short-sighted. Of course there is. How could it be fake? It's just that you guys don't know about it. The middle-aged man shook his head. TSK, what ancient books? Brother Liang, you must be reading martial arts novels. Okay, pretend I didn't say anything. You guys are awesome, go fight him. The middle-aged man shrugged. Hearing this, the group of students shook their heads. Even the tall and fat student, Wei Chang, was sent flying with a single finger. Who would dare to fight him? Sorry. I'm really sorry. Ningxi looked embarrassed. She pulled Han Xiao up and ran away from the Taekwondo club. She only wanted to find a suitable place to exchange a few moves, but why did she end up in such a mess? I say, you're too good at stirring up trouble. Ningxi stopped the car and glared at Han Xiao. Miss, someone else wanted to hit me. Han Xiao made an innocent expression. If you didn't call them trash, would they hit you? Ningxi felt helpless. They are indeed trash. Han Xiao thought for a moment and replied seriously. Hearing Han Xiao's words, Ningxi's mouth twitched. She was speechless. It's all showy but impractical boring. Han Xiao looked bored. Chapter 1177. Hee hero, why don't you go to heaven? Ningxi rolled her eyes at Han Xiao and dragged him out of the car. Pointing at a wall, she sneered. If you have the ability, be fierce to it. Prove it to me big. Before Ningxi could finish, Han Xiao's palm flashed. There was a loud bang. Ningxi stared at the wall that was smashed into ruins by Han Xiao's palm, completely stunned. One palm smashed a wall into pieces. Part of the wall turned into powder and floated in the air like snow. Ningxi. I kneel before the hero. I have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Ningxi could swear to God that she had only seen such power in novels. Only in novels. If she didn't already have a second senior brother, Ningxi would definitely worship this lunatic as her master. Tut, in fact, I can worship second senior brother. Ningxi thought to herself. But she could only think about it. This guy's moves were probably not something an ordinary person could learn. At most, she could learn 1 or 2 moves to save her life. Do you have a grudge against this wall? Han Xiao withdrew his palm and looked at Ningxi in confusion. No grudge. Ningxi shook her head blankly. No grudge? Then why did you ask me to hit the wall? You're crazy. Han Xiao turned and walked into the car. Ningxi. Who the fuck was the one that was sick? She was just joking. How would she know that he would really hit it? Wasn't he the crazy one? Hee hero. What do you want to eat tonight? As long as you can tell me, I'll treat you, and teach me a few moves. Ningxi cursed in her heart, but she put on a fawning smile. As soon as she finished speaking, Ningxi's phone suddenly rang. It was Gong Shangzi. Ningxi's face immediately turned serious. I got it. I'll go back now. I hope this time we can suppress the black faith in history. Ningxi dropped the words and hung up. Ningxi's words naturally fell into Han Zhao's ears. You know about black faith too? Han Zhao suddenly became spirited. Of course. Ningxi didn't hide anything from Han Zhao. I'm Zeiling's boss. Recently, history released Black Creed, and it had a huge impact on our company. Forget it, you wouldn't understand even if I told you. Han Zhao's eyes widened as he looked at Ningxi in astonishment. You're Zeiling's boss? Is there a need to be so surprised? Ningxi snapped. Why didn't you say so earlier? I was the one who designed Black Faith. How is it? Not bad, right? Han Zhao crossed his legs in the car and smiled proudly. You made it. All the famous products in the world were made by you, great God. Ningxi glanced at Han Zhao. How could she believe him? I really designed it, Han Zhao said seriously. I know you designed it. Ningxi nodded with a straight face, very cooperative. I'm serious. Han Zhao was not stupid. He knew that Ningxi obviously did not believe him. If you continue to brag to me, believe it or not, I will push you out. Ningxi gritted her teeth and directly opened the door. She was already annoyed by this matter, but this guy kept mentioning it. Black Faith, it's really me. Before Han Zhao could finish his words, he was pushed out of the car by Ningxi. Han Zhao knocked on the car window, his face full of confusion. It's really me. Whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, Ningxi stepped on the accelerator and disappeared, leaving only Han Zhao, who was eating dust on the side of the road. Chapter 1178. Zeiling Headquarters. When Ningxi arrived, Gong Shangzi was having a heated discussion with Master Song Jin. Ever since Song Jin agreed to cooperate, she had been researching new products with Gong Shangzi. However, due to the sudden appearance of Black Faith in history, the two had to make some changes to the original design in order to deal with it. Old Song, you're here. Seeing Song Jin, Ningxi quickly greeted her. Song Jin nodded. I already know about Black Faith. What do you think, Old Song? Ningxi asked Song Jin's opinion. It's not bad. It's very artistic. However, since it's a contest of style, it's not like we can't do anything about it. Song Jin smiled, looking confident. Gong Shangzi's face was also full of excitement. He led Ningxi to the sample room. Boss, take a look at this. There were countless different kinds of clothes in the sample room. It was dazzling. However, the moment Ningxi stepped in, there was only one left in her sight. Looking at the white dress that was surrounded by fairy clouds, Ningxi was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. She could not hide the surprise and excitement in her tone. This is, Song Jin touched the beard on his chin and said meaningfully, this is Goddess Luo. Goddess Luo? Ningxi's eyes were full of understanding. Is that the name of this dress? It's really suitable. Lines from Goddess Luo Fu instantly appeared in Ningxi's mind. Like a graceful swan, like a swimming dragon. Glorious autumn chrysanthemum, luxuriant spring pine. Like a light cloud covering the moon, drifting like snow in the wind. Looking from afar, it was as bright as the sun rising in the morning. Looking closely, it was as bright as a lotus rising in waves. It was simply too suitable. This gown was named Luotian. It had a phoenix as the main pattern, and was supplemented by auspicious clouds. It displayed the strong beauty of classical mythology in China. From beginning to end, it exuded a strong immortal aura and a mysterious and distant aura. It formed a sharp contrast with Black Faith. Moreover, it gave people a boundless yearning, a flower, a world, a leaf, a pursuit, a song, a sigh, a lifetime for one person. In short, be it in terms of style or meaning, Goddess Luo was completely created to counter Black Faith. That's great. If it's this shirt, it can definitely compete with Black Faith. Ningxi said excitedly. Gong Shangzi's expression did not relax in the slightest. He said in a low voice, I'm afraid that the opponent has not even used his full strength. So, we still cannot let our guard down. I'm afraid that the other party will have even more powerful works later on. He had never met anyone who made him feel so threatened. He didn't know if that person was temporarily in history, or if he had already been taken in by history. If it was the latter, it would be troublesome. On the other side, history headquarters. After Han Xiao returned, he did not stay idle. Instead, he took the initiative to create new clothes, which made Ning Xueluo overjoyed. Dai Wei, I need a large amount of cloud brocade. In the design department, Han Xiao called Dai Wei over with a fiery look in his eyes. Yunjin. Dai Wei was stunned. As a designer, he naturally knew that cloud brocade was an ancient Chinese silk product. It was said to have a history of nearly 1,700 years. In ancient China, cloud brocade represented the pinnacle of fabrics. The clothes worn by the emperors of several eras were made of cloud brocade. It was extremely rare. Chapter 1179. Many of the famous brands in the world also use cloud brocade materials, but compared to the most authentic cloud brocade, it was a completely different concept. There are also diamonds, gold velvet, high-grade hybrid fiber, and old pit-type jade. Han Xiao listed a few materials in a row. Hearing Han Xiao's request, Dai Wei was completely dumbfounded. What was Han Xiao trying to do? Every single one of the materials he mentioned was extremely rare and expensive. There was no need to explain the gold velvet, diamonds, and jade. High-grade hybrid fiber was a high-tech material used in astronaut clothing. Wait a moment. I'll go talk to the boss. Dai Wei smiled apologetically and hurriedly turned around to leave. Dai Wei did not dare to offend the man in front of him. Moreover, although the things he wanted were expensive, he was not asking for them from him, but from Ning Xueluo. A moment later, Dai Wei came to Ning Xueluo's office and told her about Han Xiao's request. I'll prepare it for him as soon as possible. Ning Xueluo agreed without hesitation. After all, Han Xiao's previous performance had already fully proven his strength. Now Ning Xueluo had full confidence in Han Xiao. The reason why Han Xiao asked for those materials was naturally because he wanted to make better artistic clothing. She was naturally eager to do so. Ning Xueluo was very efficient. In less than 2 days, she had gathered all the materials that Han Xiao needed. As for the price, it could be said to be sky-high, especially the jade stones. They were all high-quality ancient jade stones according to Han Xiao's requirements. After getting the materials, Han Xiao drove the irrelevant people out of the design department and went into seclusion. 3 days later, Han Xiao handed the blueprint and the materials he polished to Ning Xueluo and asked her to make the clothing according to the blueprint. Ning Xueluo spread out the blueprint. In an instant, her heart was beating violently. It looked like hell. Apart from the Azura imps, most of the designs were based on the mysterious beasts from the classic of mountains and seas. Compared to Black Faith, the level of art was higher. Mr. Han Xiao, what's the name of this clothing? Ning Xueluo was a little curious. Living beings, Han Xiao replied. Good name, but only one? Ning Xueluo asked uncertainly. If you have enough funds, you can also consider mass production of these materials, Han Xiao said with a sinister smile. Ning Xueluo immediately shook her head. The materials for these clothes were too expensive. History could not afford to mass produce them. If there was only one piece, it would be the treasure of history. He Ling, you'll be able to close soon. Ning Xueluo's lips curled up as a cold light flashed in her eyes. The production of living people would take a week. On the 6th day, Ning Xueluo released the news that history was going to announce that it was going to be the treasure of the shop, and its level was much higher than Black Faith. As soon as the news came out, the media swarmed over and waited outside history's headquarters. They all wanted to see history's treasure as soon as possible. There were even many hardcore fans of history who started a live broadcast. History's most treasured game became a hot topic on Weibo. Almost all of the fans were looking forward to it. Just Black Faith alone had already pushed history to a higher level than Black Faith. It was unimaginable. The enthusiasm of history's fans soared. They took the initiative to flame Ling and her fans on the internet. The clamor on the internet became more and more intense, showing no signs of stopping. In the beginning, Ziling's fans would occasionally fight back. However, as time passed, they all fell into silence. There was no response from Ziling. Chapter 1180. The next morning, almost all the fashion media rushed to History's headquarters. Ning Xuelua proudly led the media to the design department. In the end, she was dumbfounded when she reached the design department. The entire design department was empty. Han Xiao and all living things were nowhere to be seen. The reporters were in an uproar as they looked at each other. CEO Ning, where's your brand's calming treasure? Could it be some kind of mysterious surprise? Probably. Get ready. While the reporters were discussing, Ning Xuelua maintained a calm expression and asked Dai Wei in a low voice, "Where is he? Doesn't he know that I'm bringing reporters here today?" Dai Wei was even more confused. "I told him. And I warned him again and again. Don't worry, I'll call him now." At the same time, Ziling headquarters. Han Xiao barged into the office while a few security guards followed behind him with bruised faces, not daring to approach. "Who are you looking for?" Gong Shangze asked as he stared at Han Xiao warily. "Ningxi," Han Xiao said coldly. "Boss, someone's looking for you." Gong Shangze glanced at the security guards behind Han Xiao, who were all badly battered. Then, without saying anything, he walked to Ningxi's office and called her out. "Boss, this person forced his way in. We couldn't stop him." One of the security guards explained. "It's fine. You can leave first." Ningxi was stunned when she saw Han Xiao. She glared at him and turned to smile at the security guards. After the security guards left, Ningxi's face darkened. "You came to my company and beat up my security guards. Is this how you treat your benefactor?" Han Xiao said seriously. "Miss Ning, how can you say that? I'm here to give you a gift." "I'm busy." Ningxi was really busy. She looked at Gong Shangze anxiously. "Didn't History announce the treasure of the store today? Is there any news now?" Gong Shangze was browsing through the computer. He looked more and more surprised by what he saw. When he heard Ningxi's words, he immediately stopped the mouse and said in confusion, "That's strange. The current news is that all the media are criticizing History for hyping things up. We went to History's headquarters and found nothing. There's no treasure at all." "What?" Hearing this, Ningxi took a sip of coffee and sprayed it all on Han Xiao's face. She looked incredulous. "It's said to surpass black faith in all aspects, but it's just hype?" She had been worried the whole night and hadn't slept at all. She had prepared herself for another wave of attacks from the godly designer in History, but now she had made such a mistake. "Miss Ning, I don't have History's defining treasure, but I do have Ziling's defining treasure." Han Xiao silently wiped away the water stains on his face. Soon after, he opened the box in his hand and threw an extravagant dress in front of Ningxi. Before Ningxi could look at it, Gong Shangze leaped up and ran over with large strides. He carefully held up the gown with an expression of disbelief. So beautiful." After Ningxi looked at it clearly, she was also stunned. This style is completely an upgraded version of Black Faith. Gong Shangze could not help but gasp. Chapter 1181. This time, the unique and classic style of Diablo was displayed to the extreme. It was definitely not something that History's previous Black Faith could be compared to. The only thing that could compare to it was probably the goddess of Luo, created by Gong Shangze, and the master of traditional Chinese painting, Song Jin. "It's so beautiful, and this material. This is diamonds? And jade? Gu Yunjin. Gold velvet." Ningxi was completely dumbfounded. This was the material used to make this dress, and it was already unimaginable. High-grade mixed fiber? Gong Shangze touched all living beings, and his expression changed. "High-grade mixed fiber? What's that?" Ningxi asked hurriedly. "Let me tell you, this material is usually used to make spacesuits for astronauts to wear when they go to space," Gong Shangze explained after a moment of silence. Ningxi didn't know what to say. Although she wasn't a professional, she knew one thing was enough. One word was expensive. So, she immediately helped to pick up the clothes that had fallen to the ground. Then Ningxi seemed to have thought of something, and her gaze instantly landed on Han Xiao. Her face was as dark as the bottom of a pot, and she clenched her teeth. Han Xiao, tell me honestly, did you steal this dress from history? History even got the media here, and they kept saying that the treasure of the store would be born today. How could it be a publicity stunt? Ningxi suspected that this piece of clothing was stolen by Han Xiao, the most precious treasure of the history store. He definitely had the ability to steal a piece of clothing. This dress? Han Xiao stared at all living beings. I made it. Ningxi didn't believe him at all. Black faith is also mine. This is called all living beings, Han Xiao said. Ningxi pinched her brows, and her face was powerless. Hero, why can't we have a good chat? If Ziling's dress was stolen, would you call the police? Han Xiao narrowed his eyes, and his lips curled into a smile as he asked. Nonsense, of course I would call the police. Ningxi said subconsciously. Then, are you saying that history is dumber than you? Even you know to call the police, but history is silent. Even when the media accused it of being a publicity stunt, it didn't say a word. Han Xiao laughed faintly. Ningxi almost choked to death. Fuck, who are you calling stupid? Boss, if history really had such a piece of clothing stolen, it definitely wouldn't remain silent. It would definitely tell the media the truth. The value of this piece of clothing is simply too high, Gong Shangzi immediately said. At the same time, the expression on his face changed slightly as he looked at Han Xiao. As they were speaking, Han Xiao's phone suddenly rang. The caller ID showed that it was Dai Wei. Han Xiao picked up the call and turned on the speakerphone. Brother Han Xiao, where did you go? Today is the press conference for All Lives. The fashion media are all at History's headquarters, but you're gone, and All Lives is also gone. In such an urgent situation, Dai Wei's voice was very gentle, without a trace of anger. He also wanted to curse at Han Xiao, but unfortunately he did not have the guts to do so. What does that have to do with me? Han Xiao asked. Brother Han Xiao, isn't all living beings the treasure that you designed for history? Dai Wei asked weakly. Although his voice was very soft, it was enough for Ningxi and Gong Shangzi to hear him clearly. Which ear of yours heard me say that? Han Zhao's voice turned cold. No. Haha, then our boss misunderstood. All living beings is my work. I will handle it however I want to. You probably understand what I mean, Han Xiao said. Chapter 1182. I understand very well. Brother Han Zhao's all living things has nothing to do with our history. You didn't sign a contract with the boss. You can do whatever you want with it now. Dai Wei smiled apologetically, and even found an excuse for Han Xiao. After Dai Wei finished speaking, Han Xiao directly hung up the phone. On the other side, Ningxi's face was full of confusion. Thousands of horses were galloping in her heart, but she couldn't say a word. She remembered. Han Xiao did say that he was a designer, but she didn't believe it. Damn it. This violent maniac was actually a design genius, even better than Gong Shangzi. Even if she was given another chance, she wouldn't believe it. This was too heaven-defying. Looking at Ningxi's shocked and aggrieved expression, Han Xiao was finally satisfied. The Black Faith has brought quite a big shock to your Zailing. Consider all beings a small token of my appreciation. Consider it a gift to you, or a compensation, accept it. What's with this tone of, I'm just giving you a little toy? Ningxi glanced at the incomparably luxurious dress in her hands. This doesn't seem too appropriate. Han Xiao glanced at her. Don't worry, it's not used to repay the favor from last time. My life isn't that cheap. History definitely wouldn't dare to pursue the matter. You don't have to worry too much. Hey, since you said so, then I'll reluctantly accept it. Ningxi said reluctantly, but her hands moved quickly to collect the dress. Momo, put the dress away properly. Although Han Zhao's tone was arrogant, she now completely believed that to him. This dress was indeed just a little toy. What's more, it was extorted from Ning Shueluo. Of course she wouldn't let it go. Gong Shangzi looked at this roller coaster that seemed to have completely exceeded his expectations. Even now, he still had a confused expression on his face. The trump card of history that they were most worried about actually knew Ningxi and seemed to owe her a favor. Their studio's stabilizing treasure of history, which was on guard against a formidable enemy, had now become theirs? This Han Momo, who had been working at the side, was so shocked that she couldn't close her mouth. It wasn't until Ningxi asked her to help collect the dress that she came back to her senses and ran over. Also Momo, inform the media immediately that Ziling will announce the treasure of the store today. Ningxi decided to strike while the iron was hot. Right after the incident in history, she would publish both sets of Ziling and Han Xiao. Alright. I'll go now. Momo was excited. If the people from history saw this, they would die of anger. This was truly making a wedding dress for someone else. While Ningxi was speaking, Han Xiao suddenly grabbed Gongshang's collar. You want to fight? Ningxi quickly ran over and slapped his hand away. What are you doing? He's just a powerless designer. Why would he want to fight you? Do you think everyone is like you? Then why is he looking at me like that? Han Xiao asked coldly. Ningxi pinched her eyebrows. My designer has been wanting to know who the designer of Black Faith is since he saw it. Now you're standing in front of him. He just glanced at you a few times. What's wrong? Can you spare a piece of meat? Chapter 1183. Gongshangzi was a little embarrassed. I'm sorry, Mr. Han. I'm just very interested in your design style. Han Xiao sized up the handsome young man in front of him. He's the designer of Ziling? Yeah, didn't you praise him last time for catching your eye and making you interested in challenging him? Speaking of this. Alright, I should apologize, I really didn't expect you to really be the designer. Now I'm completely convinced. Ningxi cupped her fists. Han Xiao glanced at her. I've said it before, the designer of Ziling is not as good as me. I can destroy him in minutes. Do you believe me now? Hearing this, Ningxi suddenly thought of something. Wait. So, the reason why you went to history and caused such a ruckus, is it because I didn't believe you back then? Han Xiao. That's right. Ningxi. What a straightforward answer, bastard. Previously, she had guessed countless times who the expert Ning Shueluo had hired was and where she had hired him from. But she never thought that it would all be because of her. Ningxi was completely speechless as she held her forehead. Great God, I was wrong. I really know that I was wrong. From now on, every word you say, I will believe it without a doubt. I will never doubt you again. Gongshangzi was also surprised when he heard this. He didn't expect that the reason this person designed Black Faith was because of him. He wasn't angry at Han Zhao's, I can destroy him in minutes at all, because he indeed had the strength to do so, and was instead very honored to be treated as an opponent by such a person. Alright, in order to apologize for my blindness, and to thank you for this gift, I'll treat you to dinner after the press conference tonight. Ningxi looked at Han Xiao and said. He naturally wouldn't refuse to eat. Han Xiao pressed down on the brim of his hat, made an okay gesture, then leisurely turned around and left. After Han Xiao left, Gongshangzi couldn't help but ask Ningxi. Boss, do you think it's possible to invite Mr. Han to our company? If such a person could join Ziling. Ningxi immediately rejected Gongshangzi's suggestion without thinking. Don't even think about it, that guy, I can't control him. No matter how powerful a weapon is, if the wielder can't control it, it will only harm himself in the end. Ning Shueluo was the best example. Moreover, such a carefree person probably wouldn't stay in one place. From his attitude, it could be seen that design was just one of his little hobbies. Hearing this, Gongshangzi did not say anything more, but his eyes shone even brighter. Some people were just like that. They were so talented that you couldn't even feel jealous of them. You could only lament that there was always someone better than you in the world. And from there, you would have the urge to work hard to reach a higher and vaster place. After a short preparation, Han Momo immediately spread the news that Ziling was going to publicize the treasure of the shop. The press conference was held at the Royal Noble Hotel. Although the announcement was very rushed, almost all the media outlets flocked to the news as soon as they heard it. And the news was still spreading rapidly. After all, they had just gotten nothing from history. And Zailing immediately said that they were also going to announce their store's treasure. How could they not be curious? This was definitely big news. Chapter 1184. In the multipurpose hall of the Royal Noble Hotel. It had only been an hour since Zailing's news was released, but the spacious hall was already full. Most of the media had just gone to history to find nothing. They were angrily writing articles at home, scolding history for standing them up on purpose. Then Zailing's invitation call came in. It was obvious that there would be big news, so they all rushed over. At the same time, history, who had been troubled by Han Zhao's disappearance, naturally received news that Zailing was going to release the treasure of the store. Ning Xuelua immediately sent someone to check on the situation. In the end, she was still worried, so she changed her clothes, put on sunglasses, and personally went over. She wanted to see what Zailing was up to. No matter what they wanted to do, as long as they could coax Han Xiao back, they would still win. Han Xiao had always been a moody person, so even after the phone call with Han Xiao, Ning Xuelua still did not give up. She still asked Dai Wei to use all means to contact him, and even hired the Internet Water Army to guide the public's opinion. On the Internet, history's supporters said that history would never deliberately use such a method to hype up the store. There must have been an accident, and after the accident was resolved, the treasure of the store would definitely be released in an absolutely stunning manner. The public relations team that Xiao Weilon had built was very professional, and they had already arranged the release in a short period of time. After most of the reporters had arrived, Xie Yichuan, the public relations director of Zailing, cleared his throat and said, "Thank you very much for coming, friends from the media. Today, Zailing will be releasing a design that we have been preparing for many days. This design was jointly completed by our chief designer, ZX, and the master of traditional Chinese painting, Songjin Mr. Song. It will be our treasure." As soon as Xie Yichuan's voice fell, the media at the scene was in an uproar. Songjin? Master of traditional Chinese painting, Songjin? You must be joking. Didn't Mr. Song live in seclusion a long time ago? I wanted to interview him last time, but I didn't see him at all. Why would he go and work with a clothing company like Zailing? This is unbelievable. I think he's bluffing. How can he bluff such a thing? Even history can stand us up. What else is impossible? My friends from the media, please be patient. Our treasure of calmness is about to appear. Today, we are very fortunate to be able to invite our old Mr. Song to be here personally to demonstrate and explain this work of art to us. Following this sentence, the reporters who were still doubting him were all stunned. Fuck. Songjin would personally come? In an instant, everyone subconsciously held their breath and looked in the direction of the entrance of the hall. This time Zailing's tone was so big. She had invited so many people. If she played them like history did, they would not be able to survive in this circle. In the corner, Ning Xuelua, who had personally come to inquire about the news, had a flash of sharpness in her eyes. Songjin, how is that possible? History had previously attacked Zailing for plagiarism, because many of the traditional Chinese painting elements on Zailing's clothes were the same as Zailing's. But now, Zailing had actually invited Songjin to collaborate with him? This was absolutely impossible. Songjin wasn't someone who could be hired with money. History had also sent people to invite her, but she didn't even say a word. This is impossible. Chapter 1185. Qin Zifan, the marketing director of history, also said, "Boss, don't listen to them. How could it be Songjin? Maybe he's just Songjin's disciple, or someone who deceives the world." "Songjin doesn't have a disciple," Ning Xuelua said. "It's either that Elder Song isn't feeling well and can't come, or it's just to prove the credibility of this statement. In fact, Elder Song doesn't care about worldly affairs, so she doesn't know what Zailing is doing. Even if she knew, I'm afraid she wouldn't care. What kind of cooperation is this? It sounds so nice, but it's most likely because they got their hands on some of Elder Song's works at a high price, so they used elemental transformation on the clothes. I've seen this kind of hype many times," Qin Zifan said confidently. While the media was excited and curious, There were naturally many people who had the same idea as Qin Zifen. Soon, two girls dressed in elemental overalls appeared at the door. They were carefully carrying a gown covered in a thick silk cloth. They placed the gown in the middle of the stage and stood to one side. TSK, at least it's a little better than history. At least there's a dress. Someone murmured in the audience. Even if there is, I don't think it can surpass Black Faith. Zailing has little chance of winning. It's useless to forcefully borrow Elder Song's reputation. Hearing about Black Faith, the surrounding people were all amazed. That's true. Not long after that, a spirited old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion slowly walked in, led by a little girl. Seeing the old man led in by Han Momo, there was a sudden gasp. Song Jin was famous both in China and abroad. His portrait and paintings were even printed in school textbooks. Everyone knew him, let alone these media workers. Song Jin. Oh my God. It's really Elder Song. Out of respect for Song Jin, a master of virtue and prestige, all the reporters present stood up in unison. In fact, Ningxi didn't expect Song Jin to come in person. Gong Shangza had communication difficulties, especially when he was in front of the camera. Therefore, in the past, Han Momo had appeared on such occasions on his behalf. Naturally, it was the same this time. However, this press conference was too important, and Gong Shangza was worried that Momo wouldn't be able to accurately convey the message. Just as he was worrying about it, Elder Song took the initiative to ask him to come forward. In this regard, Ningxi was naturally endlessly grateful. In fact, she had hoped from the start that Elder Song would appear, because unless he personally appeared, it would be too difficult to believe that Zailing and Song Jin were working together. Old Mr. Song, are you really working with Zailing now? Master, why did you choose to work with Zailing instead of other famous brands? Rumor has it that even the #1 brand in China, Step by Step, once invited you to collaborate with them, but you didn't agree. History seems to have invited him as well. The live audience was filled with intense questions from the reporters. The questions came one after another, and they were all about Song Jin. Song Jin coughed lightly, and reminded them in a slightly displeased tone. Today is Zailing's new product launch. I hope everyone knows what's important. After saying this, Song Jin didn't say anything else. She reached out and removed the cloth covering her clothes. With a clatter, the cloth was unwrapped, and Zailing's shop's most prized treasure was revealed. Chapter 1186. The reporters who were still asking Song Jin questions were all stunned on the spot. Oh, my God. It's so beautiful. Is this Zailing's signature piece? I thought that history's Black Faith was already amazing, but now, I see a completely different style of extreme. This is too shocking. ZX's personal style blends perfectly with Elder Song's traditional Chinese painting. The entire outfit makes people feel like they've fallen into a fairyland. Elder Song, does this outfit have a name? Song Jin was satisfied with the reporters' reactions. She stroked her white beard and said, graceful as a swan, graceful as a dragon. Glorious autumn chrysanthemum, luxuriant spring pine. Like a light cloud covering the moon, swaying like snow in the wind. From afar, it's as bright as the sun rising. From afar, it's as bright as a lotus flower. At this point, a reporter on the scene said excitedly, could it be that this set of treasures is called Goddess Luo? Song Jin nodded, that's right. As soon as he finished speaking, the crowd exclaimed in surprise again. Goddess Luo. Goddess Luo. She really lives up to her name. It's so fitting. Zailing is really amazing. Isn't that so? You always surprise us with unexpected surprises. It's a pity. What's a pity? Of course it's a pity. We even got to see Master Song Jin, but we didn't get to see Zailing's legendary designer, ZX. Yeah. He's so mysterious. What do you guys think the code name ZX means? Maybe it's an acronym? In the corner, Ning Xueluo's face was contorted in anger. Damn it. Qin Zifen. What's wrong with you? You didn't even know that Zailing managed to invite Song Jin. Qin Zifen's forehead was covered in cold sweat. How could he have thought that Zailing could invite Song Jin? Besides, he was only in charge of the marketing department. He was not in charge of the design department. Where's Daiwei? I think he's still looking for someone. Qin Zifen mumbled weakly. Ning Xuelua gritted her teeth. Humph, what goddess Luo? As long as we find Han Xiao, we'll crush Zailing. Yes, yes, yes. Of course. Qin Zifen echoed. However, the corner of his mouth was twitching. The problem was that he had to find the person first. That designer's temperament was treacherous, and his whereabouts were uncertain. Moreover, he had already called to say that he wasn't willing to let them use living beings, so where could they find him now? It was useless even if they found it. In fact, when Ning Xuelua first hired that person, he felt a little uneasy. He felt that Ning Xuelua would never be able to control such a person. There were too many uncertainties. Now the thing that he was most worried about had happened. Boss. Daiwei walked out from behind Ning Xuelua while panting. Did you find him? Ning Xuelua asked immediately. Daiwei shook his head with an awful look on his face. No. I think he blocked me with his phone. I went to the place where he might have gone to eat, but I didn't find him. Trash. It's been so long. Don't you know where he lives? Ning Xuelua scolded. Daiwei's expression turned even uglier. I did try to follow him, but he was too vigilant. I couldn't keep up with him at all. I finally managed to follow him, but he was heading for the graveyard in the middle of the night. I didn't dare to follow him. Chapter 1187. What should we do now? Take a look at Zailing's work. They even managed to invite Song Jin. Ning Xuelua said grumpily. Daiwei looked at the white gown in the center of the stage and Song Jin, who was explaining the design. His face darkened. No, if he lost this round he would lose face. How was he going to establish himself in the company? Daiwei gritted his teeth and said, Boss, don't worry. I'll go to the graveyard to look for it. Then hurry up. Ning Xuelua said angrily. Dear media friends, please don't be in such a hurry to leave. Zailing has a second treasure. Xie Yichuan's voice came from the stage. Daiwei stopped in his tracks. Ning Xuelua and Qin Zifen, who were about to leave, also looked at the stage. What? There's a second one? Daiwei's face turned pale, and then he sneered. Judging from the first one, I can basically guess the style of the second one. One or two are actually the same. Besides, the rarer something is, the more precious it is. Of course, there can only be one treasure of the store. How stupid Zailing is to make two. Qin Zifen looked at the stage. They designed two treasures of the same quality in such a short time? Even if the designer had the inspiration, each piece of clothing is expensive. Zailing's liquidity can't support it, can it? Song Jin had already left the stage. The introducer was changed to a staff member in a black gown. After two staff members carefully moved the cloth-covered clothing out, the staff member in the black dress walked to the center of the stage. Before unveiling the cloth, she explained, First of all, I need to explain to the media that the design of this set of clothing was not made by our designer, ZX, but by another designer specially hired by Zailing. There is only one piece of clothing that he designed for Zailing. It's the complete opposite of Luotian ways. It's designed to give our customers a different experience and satisfy more different needs. Don't talk so much. Quickly open it for me to see. That's right. You're being so mysterious. Show me if you're a mule or a horse. Ning Xuelua sneered as she listened to the staff member's introduction. The complete opposite style? Is Zailing going to make something to counter our black faith? Daiwei had naturally thought of this as well. That's just wishful thinking. Han Zhao's style is something that no one can imitate. The name of our clothes is All Beings. Daiwei, Ning Xuelua, and Qin Zifen's expressions changed when they heard the words everyone. What? All living beings? Did Zailing steal our ideas? With a huala sound, the cloth covering the clothes was forcefully removed by the staff. An extremely luxurious, mysterious, and ancient Chinese gown appeared before everyone's eyes. It was not stealing ideas, nor was it imitating others. It was all living beings. This piece of clothing was actually the one Han Xiao had designed, All Beings. The three of them stood there in a daze. Their faces were filled with disbelief. The expressions on their faces were like a flashing lantern. They're missing beings. the beings they had searched for so long, had actually appeared at the press conference of Ziling's most precious treasure. Their calming treasure had become a spiritual. Chapter 1188. As soon as All Living Beings was released, countless reporters couldn't help but stand up in excitement. Oh my God! I thought Black Faith was the limit. I didn't expect. This is too shocking. What kind of aura is needed to suppress this piece of clothing? Of course, among the praises, there were also some doubts. But this isn't Ziling's own design. Didn't the staff just say it? It's a special designer. So what if it's a special designer? Do you think Dai Wei designed history's Black Faith? Although he's been vague and wants to make people think it's his design, it's definitely not his design, okay? He still hired external help. Although a designer's style can change, there are boundaries and barriers. How can one person control such a big change? It's understandable that Ziling hired external help. Plus, history did it first. Speaking of which, why do I feel like Black Faith and All Living Beings are so similar? No matter what, Ziling really won this time. Haha. Today is so exciting. There's going to be a headline. Looking at Ziling's staff introducing Black Faith and listening to the endless exclamations and praises from the media, Ning Xuelua was so angry that she almost vomited blood. What style? That was designed by the same person. That was history's thing. Ning Xuelua took a deep breath to suppress the sweetness in her throat. Go and call the police. Tell them that history stole our treasure. Dai Wei was troubled. Boss. I'm afraid it's not appropriate. Although I don't know how Ziling did it, this outfit was definitely given to them by Han Xiao. So what? Every single piece of jewelry, diamond, and jade on that outfit is my money. Ning Xuelua almost lost control and roared. Boss, lower your voice. Dai Wei pulled Ning Xuelua to a corner. Although that's what you said, boss, our Black Faith Han Xiao didn't take a single cent from it. If we really want to calculate the money, we can't stand on our own 2 feet. Besides, he didn't sign a contract with us. We voluntarily provided these materials to him. Don't mention Black Faith to me. What's the point of a defeated plan? Ning Xuelua's face was dark. Of course, Dai Wei knew this. But things have already come to this. So, do you really want me to swallow my anger and watch as Ziling's wedding dress is made for me? Dai Wei was also very irritated. Boss, of course I don't want to. However, you really can't provoke Han Xiao. If you don't believe me, then don't blame me for not warning you when the time comes. Dai Wei's words were very serious. Ning Xuelua had also heard some of Han Xiao's deeds from him. Even if she was about to explode from anger, she naturally did not dare to do anything. Dai Wei, listen carefully. Everything that has happened now is because of your incompetence. You know what to do. Ning Shui gave him an ultimatum. Dai Wei's fingers were clenched into fists by his side. The designs that he had stolen from Gong Shangzi had not been completely used up. However, due to the limited number of them, and the fact that he had not restrained himself earlier, he had used up too many of them in one go. Now, unless it was a critical moment, he could not simply take them out. However, it seemed like he had to take a few out now. Now, every time he took out one, it felt like he was cutting his flesh. Chapter 1189. Ziling's press conference came to a successful end. She had won a beautiful battle since she took the initiative to declare war not long ago. Not long after the press conference ended, the internet was full of reports about the press conference. There were too many highlights and surprises in Ziling's press conference. Coupled with the empty city stratagem of history, Ziling's popularity skyrocketed and the public's opinion was on her side. Seeing that everything was going smoothly, Ningxi's nerves, which had been stretched taut for so many days, finally relaxed. She then took out her phone and called Han Xiao, inviting him to dinner. To show her sincerity, she invited him to her house, along with Gong Shangzi, Han Momo, and Xiao Weilan. Elder Song said she didn't want to disturb the gathering of young people, so she didn't come. Guru, come over for dinner. We all want to thank you. Since you've given us such a big gift, you must treat us to a meal. I'm at Peach Blossom Cove. It's too far. Han Zhao's voice came from the phone. Where do you live? I'll pick you up, okay? Dragon Burial Mountain. Ningxi's face turned as black as coal when she heard this. I'm sorry, I can't pick you up. How about Pearl River Imperial View? Should this one be closer? Sure. After Han Xiao finished speaking, he hung up. Ningxi looked at her cell phone speechlessly. Damn it, did someone live in a cemetery? Wasn't he scared to death? She didn't even know where to start, however. She seemed to recall that he seemed to have mentioned that he was also a tombkeeper. This guy's career span. It was hard to understand. Ningxi went to the supermarket to buy ingredients, and went to Pearl River Imperial View to prepare food. Although they had moved, the kitchen utensils were all there. Gong Shangzi and the others arrived one after another. Ningxi was preparing in the kitchen. Gong Shangzi and Han Momo looked at the dishes Ningxi prepared on the table with a strange expression. Han Momo looked at the dishes on the table and swallowed. Sister Shi, don't you think you've cooked too much? Ningxi chuckled. Not much, definitely not much. I'm afraid it's not enough. Wait, there are still some dishes in the kitchen. The doorbell rang, and Ningxi hurriedly went to open the door. Sure enough, it was Han Xiao. He was still dressed in black and white striped sportswear. The hat on his head was taken off, revealing his long, straight hair. Speaking of which, this was the first time she had seen a man with such long hair. Almighty, you really picked a good time to come. The food is just right. Sit down, it's time to eat. Han Xiao sat down at the table. Ningxi brought up the last plate of pig trotters and sat down. Mr. Han, let me give you a toast. Your design is really very impressive. I hope that I'll have the chance to interact more with you in the future. Gong Shangzi raised his cup. Han Momo also said, it's all thanks to Mr. Han that the press conference was a success. History was furious. Thank you so much. Then, Qiao Weilan and Xie Yichuan also said a few words. However, for some reason, Han Zhao's expression was somewhat unsightly. Seeing this, Ningxi didn't know what she had said to make this god unhappy. So she hurriedly asked, Ahem, God, what's wrong? Han Xiao looked up at her. Didn't you invite me to dinner? Ningxi nodded. Yes, yes. Han Xiao continued. I only want to eat, I don't want to chat. Everyone at the table was speechless. Chapter 1190. Ningxi was speechless. She was almost defeated by this person. Okay, I won't talk anymore. From now on, let's stop talking and focus on eating. God, you eat. Only then did Han Xiao slowly pick up his chopsticks. Although he was eating slowly, it didn't hinder his eating speed at all. Soon, the bowls of food on the table were emptied. Han Momo, who was just looking at Han Xiao like a love-struck fool, almost had her eyes pop out. This guy can eat too much. God, you can eat as much as you want today. There's more in the kitchen. Ningxi smiled as she went to the kitchen to bring the rest of the dishes over. Recently, there were a lot of foodies on the internet who started a live broadcast of eating, and it was quite popular. If Han Xiao also started a live broadcast of eating, he would definitely kill those people. They invited the studio's people to join them to show their sincerity, but who knew that they only had food in their eyes? They might even think that they weren't sincere enough for eating with so many people. Therefore, after Gong Shangzi and the others were almost done eating, they tactfully took their leave. After Han Xiao finished sweeping the dishes, Ningxi hurriedly asked, God, were you satisfied with the food? Not bad, it's better than KFC. Ningxi. Her cooking skills had actually fallen to the point of being on par with KFC. After eating, Han Xiao got up and was about to leave. After a few steps, he saw something out of the corner of his eye, and he suddenly stopped. What's wrong? Ningxi followed Han Xiao's line of sight. Han Xiao seemed to be looking in the direction of her cloakroom. To be exact, he was looking at one of the dresses in the cloakroom. Ningxi looked at the dress that Han Xiao was staring at and asked, What? God is interested in that dress? Gentlemen really think alike. That's my personal favorite. It's a very awesome brand that very few people know about. It's called G. Ningxi thought that he was interested in this brand, so she simply walked over and turned the switch on the dressing table. After a clicking sound, the entire wall behind the cloakroom suddenly opened to both sides, and inside appeared a room full of GE brand clothes. Han Xiao stared at the clothes in a trance, and his eyes seemed to reveal an emotion close to sadness, which surprised Ningxi. Cough. God. Is there something wrong with these clothes? I designed it, Han Xiao said. Ningxi was dumbfounded. Holy shit. You designed it? You're that genius designer who only appears once in a blue moon? To be honest, it was really possible. Do you like it? Han Xiao asked. What do you mean these clothes? Of course, who wouldn't like such a beautiful woman? I'm sure no girl wouldn't like her. But I don't have the ability to collect so many of them. My boyfriend got them. There's no girl who wouldn't like it. That's good. Han Xiao muttered. His tone was clearly one of joy, but for some reason, he sounded so regretful and lonely. Ningxi touched her chin. TSK, there's a situation. That look in his eyes was clearly related to women. Let's go. Ningxi was confused. Han Xiao waved his hand and turned to leave. Ah. How about I give you a ride? I thought you didn't want to go to the cemetery. You really live in a cemetery? Fine. Suit yourself. Chapter 1191. The next day, History held a press conference again, saying that there had been an accident the day before, which was why the press conference had been postponed. Zeiling's studio. Gong Shangzi looked at the news headline on the computer screen, and a cold glint flashed across his eyes. Director Gong, is this another one of your designs? Han Momo asked tentatively. Gong Shangzi nodded, but there was no anger in his eyes. And it's my earliest work. Some of his early works, though immature, had a childishness and naivety that longtime designers didn't have. No matter how much experience and practice a designer had, they couldn't imitate such a feeling, and it was this feeling that made this set of designs even more valuable. Sure enough, the comments on the internet weren't as stunning and overflowing as Zeiling's, but the reviews for History's set of designs were pretty good. Ningxi chuckled. This guy doesn't have much left. It'll only get harder in the future. If I remember correctly, there are still some manuscripts that I'm most proud of. I guess he's saving them for a critical moment. Gong Shangzi said. Oh yeah, Director Gong, even if you can't remember all of your previous designs, you should at least remember some that left a deep impression, right? Can we publish them before he does? Han Momo suddenly asked. Gong Shangzi shook his head. My manuscripts and electronic manuscripts are all with him, and they have dates on them. If I publish them before he does, I'll only be seen as a plagiarist. Not only that, I have to work hard to get rid of the style and elements of my previous designs. I can't clash with my stolen designs. Fuck. That's so cheap. Han Momo was furious. Just as Ningxi was about to speak, her phone rang. It was Lin Jiji. Hello, Sister Jiji. There's a celebrity charity dinner tonight. Attend it, and remember to prepare a suitable charity auction item. It doesn't have to be too expensive or too eye-catching. I'll ask Xiao Tao to accompany you. Okay, got it. Ningxi hung up and looked at Gong Shangzi and the others. Keep it up, babies. I'm going to start too. You too, boss. Han Momo cheered. Oh yeah, boss. When will the new movie you mentioned be released? It's been delayed a little because of scheduling issues, but it'll be out soon. Yes, when the time comes, I will definitely ask everyone around me to go and support. When Han Momo said this, she probably didn't expect that it would be so hard to get a ticket. Not only did she fail, but she also had to ask Ningxi to open the back door for her to get a few movie tickets. Thanks, today's charity banquet was hosted by a large domestic luxury brand. Big shots from the entertainment industry, as well as celebrities from the political and business world, had been invited. It was the biggest charity banquet of the year, and the entire venue was filled with stars. Many big shots from the political and business world had also come. Ningxi brought along the items she had prepared for the charity auction, and Xiao Tao followed behind her. The moment she stepped into the venue, her vision blurred, and she seemed to see a familiar figure. Cloud depths? How could this be? Ningxi's gaze pierced through the crowd and stared at the back of the man who had just walked past. She wanted to see the man's hair color, but the man was soon buried in the crowd accompanied by his bodyguards. YS equals Satan equals cloud deep equals cloud radish. Chapter 1192. Sister She, what are you looking at? Little Peach asked suspiciously. Why would that guy come to a charity dinner? That must be a joke. Ningxi shook her head and stopped thinking about it. Nothing. Let's go. Ningxi had been wearing Zeiling's clothes on many occasions. Because this occasion was more important, Ningxi didn't choose ready-made clothes. Instead, she wore a high-end custom-made dress. Han Momo had urged her to wear the signature dress, but Ningxi refused. She couldn't control the signature dress with her current identity, whether it was for Hero Luo or Sheng Sheng. But one day, she would need the signature dress. As Ningxi walked inside, she bumped into Ning Xueluo. The set that Ning Xueluo was wearing was obviously the set that history had just announced yesterday. Su Yan came along with Ning Xueluo. Ning Xueluo's gown was decorated with handmade flowers, like the Garden of Eden in a fairy tale world. It made her look pure, innocent, delicate and cute. Su Yan, who was beside her, was dressed in an elegant white suit. He looked as gentle as jade. The two of them looked like a perfect match. Xiaoxi, you're here too. Ning Xueluo recognized her at a glance. Are you wearing Zeiling's clothes today? They look good. Don't you think so, Brother Yan? Ningxi had worn Zeiling's clothes the last time she went to the Ning family. At that time, Zhuang Lingyu and Ning Yaohua had scolded her for siding with an outsider. If it was a coincidence last time, then Ningxi had worn Zeiling's clothes this time. It could be said that it was completely intentional. Ning Xueluo deliberately said these words with a sad and lonely look on her face. Obviously, she was doing it for Su Yan. However, Su Yan, who was usually so attentive, didn't notice Ning Xueluo's emotions at this moment. Instead, his eyes fell on Ningxi. Ningxi was wearing a white Chinese-style gown with blue and red embroidery. The color of the gown was gradually changing. There were coral embroidery and translucent chiffon. She looked like a fairy. The person in front of him was so close, but she gave him the illusion that she was so far away that he couldn't even touch her. This feeling inexplicably made his heart skip a beat. Su Yan was stunned for a long time before he came back to his senses. He nodded and said, "Yeah, it's very nice." Ning Xueluo noticed Su Yan's absent-mindedness and a cold gleam flickered across her eyes. Then she took Su Yan's arm intimately with a smile and said to Ningxi, "Cici, in addition to the charity auction items donated by the stars, there will be several final auction items prepared by the organizers. One of them is a crown called Queen. I like it very much. Brother Yan said he would buy it for me and use it in my wedding. Oh, by the way, Brother Yan and I are about to get engaged. Sister, you must come." Engagement? Ningxi raised her eyebrows slightly. How could he get engaged so soon regardless of the fact that his career was on the rise? Looks like he's really anxious because of the will. Ha! When Xiao Tao heard Ning Xueluo call Ningxi elder sister, she couldn't help but reveal a suspicious look. Why do I feel that the atmosphere between the three of them is weird? Also, Ning Xueluo was getting engaged. Unexpectedly, he found out big news. An engagement party? Ningxi murmured. Yes, elder sister, you'll come. Sorry, I've been busy recently. Next time, I'll definitely go next time. Ningxi said with a smile, and then turned to leave. Xiao Tao was stunned for a moment, and then she almost burst out laughing. Behind her, Ning Xueluo's face turned green. Next engagement? Damn it. She was clearly cursing her for a divorce. Chapter 1193. Su Yan was stunned when he heard that. Then he realized what was going on and his face darkened. Ning Xueluo was about to complain to Su Yan when a group of reporters surrounded her. She calmed herself down and answered their questions with a smile. Xueluo, did you prepare any special items for the auction today? Nothing special. It's just some personal jewelry. It's Xueluo's personal jewelry. I reckon that it will definitely cause people to raise the prices later. I remember last year, Xueluo, you casually untied a ribbon from your wrist, and it was sold for 1 million. The reporters present all complimented. We're all doing it for charity. Then Xueluo, do you have anything you want to auction today? I do have one. Everyone will know later. It's been a long time since Mr. Su proposed. When will we be able to attend your wedding? Ning Xuelua glanced at Su Yan shyly and said, Soon, I'll inform everyone when the time comes. After Ning Shi entered the hall, the celebrities were chatting enthusiastically. On the stage in front, the host and the auctioneer were preparing for the auction. Sister Shi, I'll send the items for auction over, Xiao Tao said. Ning Shi nodded. Go ahead. Because of her status, it was not suitable for her to send anything too expensive. Therefore, Ning Shi chose a jade bracelet that was worth about 30,000 yuan and donated it. Ning Shi adjusted the hem of her dress and found a random seat to sit down. After a while, Xiao Tao returned and handed her a number tag. Every guest had one of these tags. It was used during the auction. However, Ning Shi did not have anything in particular that she wanted to bid for today, so she probably would not need it. After the guests gathered, the host said warmly on the stage, Dear guests, welcome to our annual Celebrity Charity Gala. Our theme this time is, Let Charity Become Fashion. After a simple opening speech and the speeches of the celebrities and philanthropists, the gala entered the charity auction segment. The first segment was the auction of the items donated by the celebrities. Some of the items donated by the celebrities were branded bags that they endorsed, some commemorative clothes, and some personal jewelry. Because it was a charity donation, there was no base price. However, the final price would be higher than the original price, and the price was largely linked to the celebrity's status and fame. Because of the schedule, Su Yimo from Shengshi Entertainment was not present this time. So Ning Xuelua was the center of attention. What's more, she was attending the event with Su Yan in a high-profile manner today. One was the leading actress of Starlight Entertainment, the daughter of the Ning family, and the other was the most popular celebrity in the capital's upper-class circle, the Su family. The two of them naturally attracted everyone's attention. The next item is the diamond bracelet that Miss Ning Xuelua always wears. There is no reserve price, so please start bidding. As soon as Ning Xueluo's item was brought out, the crowd immediately began to call out the price. 100,000, 120,000, 180,000, 500,000. A wealthy businessman with a beer belly directly offered a high price of 500,000, causing an uproar at the scene. The original price of Ning Xueluo's bracelet was at most 200,000 to 300,000, but the wealthy businessman did not raise the price from low to high. He actually doubled the original price. Sorry, my babies are not in a good state today. I've been sleepy and want to sleep. I'll put down the chapter for now. I'll try to get up early tomorrow. Chapter 1194. Even so, the enthusiasm of the bidding didn't decrease at all, and they were all increasing the price by more than 100,000. 600,000, 700,000, 1 million, 1 million, 2 million. Although Ning Xuelua and Su Yan were a well-known couple, Ning Xuelua still had an endless stream of admirers and pursuers. Seeing Ning Xuelua and Su Yan together, many men raised the price out of jealousy. Coupled with the celebrities who supported the Ning and Su families, the price had exceeded 1 million, and it was still increasing, breaking Ning Xuelua's own record last year. Many of the female celebrities showed an envious expression. Tisk, it's good to have a family background. Wherever she goes, people will protect her. Even her husband is a celebrity of equal status. Unlike us, we've done all kinds of dirty things, but we're still just a plaything in the eyes of those celebrities. She was lucky to be reincarnated. She was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. How can she be compared to us? 5 million. At this moment, number 60 raised his paddle. Number 60. Mr. Su raised his paddle. 5 million. Mr. Su bid 5 million. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? Is there anyone else? On the stage, the auctioneer shouted excitedly to the audience. It was Su Yan who made the bid. Su Yan actually bid 5 million in one go. There was an uproar. Since Ning Xuelua's lover had come out and offered such a high price at once, those who had supported her just now naturally stopped bidding. As for Ning Xuelua's admirers, they were all respectable people. They wouldn't really fight for Ning Xuelua's affection on such an occasion. They could only reluctantly take back their signs. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? Is there anyone else? No, right? Number 60 once. Number 60 twice. Number 63 times. The auctioneer asked 3 times in a row, and when no one else made a bid, he slammed the gavel in his hand. Our Mr. Su Yan has become the winner of Miss Ning Xuelua's diamond bracelet. Congratulations, Mr. Su. The guests laughed and teased him. Ah, young Master Su is so angry for a beauty. Ning Xuelua looked at the man beside her with adoration in her eyes. Brother Yan, why are you? Su Yan looked at the girl beside him with a gentle gaze. I was going to take the photo anyway. How could I let someone else take the photo of what's so important to you? Many people remembered that Ning Yaohua was the one who bought Ning Xuelua's personal jewelry last year. This year it was Su Yan. They couldn't help but secretly sigh at Ning Xuelua's good life. On the stage, the auctioneer teased Ning Xuelua and Su Yan. He then continued with the auction. All right, let's continue the auction. The next item is... The auctioneer paused and then said, the next item is a jade bracelet donated by Miss Ning Shi from Shengshi Entertainment. Hearing the auctioneer's voice, Ning Shi raised her eyebrows in the corner. Her auction item was right behind Ning Xuelua. Xiao Tao glanced in Ning Xuelua's direction. Her face was filled with hatred. How could she be behind Ning Xuelua? Could it be that someone deliberately arranged this? Ning Xuelua was in the limelight just now. Anyone who stood behind her would be suppressed. Chapter 1195. Miss Ning Shi once starred in director Guo's popular costume movie The World with Xue Luo. She played the role of Meng Chang'e, the second female lead, and was very popular with the audience. The auctioneer briefly introduced Ning Shi. The World was indeed very popular, but when placed together with Ning Xue Luo, the female lead and the supporting female lead, they were instantly overshadowed. Almost no one in the circle of celebrities knew about such an artist who played a supporting role. After the auctioneer finished, Ning Shi stood up and greeted everyone. When they saw Ning Shi in person, there was a burst of exclamations. Yo! Since when did such a beauty appear in the circle? She's so pretty. There are so many beautiful female celebrities in the industry. Can you stand all of them? This is different. She's really beautiful. Just look at that figure. The only role that's presentable right now is a second female lead? It looks like she hasn't been chosen yet. Why? What do you think, director's son? Hee a little. Of course, there were many in the celebrity circle who recognized Ning Shi. The socialites around Ning Xue Luo couldn't help but discuss when they saw Ning Shi. Isn't that the adopted daughter of the Ning family? The adopted daughter of the Ning family? The one who was adopted from the countryside? Yes. I saw her at Grandpa Ning's birthday party. It's her. No way. She changed so much? The first time I saw her was at Xue Luo's coming-of-age ceremony. That woman was so old-fashioned. And she was even wearing fake clothes. I heard that she was chased out of the family because she tried to steal Xue Luo's boyfriend and seduce Su Yan. Later, she went for plastic surgery and now she's trying to enter the entertainment industry with her vixen face. A pheasant wants to become a phoenix? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? Alright, everyone can start bidding. The auctioneer said. However, as soon as he finished speaking, there was an eerie silence. For a moment, no one made a bid. There would never be a situation where no one made a bid on such an occasion. Unless someone was deliberately manipulating the situation. Xiao Tao gritted her teeth. I knew someone would do it on purpose. Luckily, we're prepared. Someone. Ning Shi tilted her head and asked. Xiao Tao nodded. It's to prevent such a situation. I'll inform him immediately. In order to prevent such an embarrassing situation where no one offered a price or deliberately raised the price, many people would prepare some shills in case of emergencies. Lin Jiji also prepared in advance for Ning Shi. Just as Xiao Tao was about to inform the other side, someone in the crowd suddenly raised a placard. 1 yuan. Along with this voice, the crowd roared with laughter. Someone actually offered 1 yuan. Who was it? The auctioneer couldn't help but laugh. Number 17, Director Qian's bid is 1 yuan. Boss Qian is really humorous. Boss Qian was the wealthy businessman who had bid the most fiercely during the auction for Ning Xueluo's bracelet. Fuck. You're going too far. Xiao Tao was furious. That Boss Qian was definitely one of Ning Xueluo's people. Fortunately at this time, another boss made a bid. 10,000. Number 39. Director's son bids 10,000. The host looked at the slightly plump middle-aged man and said. When everyone heard that it was CEO's son who helped Ning Shi out, they all revealed meaningful expressions. Who didn't know that this was a famous lecher? Now that he was playing the hero to save the damsel in distress, it was obvious that he had taken a fancy to Ning Shi's beauty and wanted to take advantage of her. Chapter 1196. Su Yan's face darkened when he heard Director Sun's offer. His hand that was holding the sign moved, but Ning Xueluo covered the back of his hand. Many people knew about the entanglement between them and Ning Shi. If Su Yan helped Ning Shi, who knew what kind of gossip would spread, Ning Xueluo hurriedly said, Brother Yan, it's okay. With Lin Jiji's methods, my sister will definitely have someone ready to help us. Su Yan temporarily suppressed the impulse in his heart. However, when he saw Director Sun looking at Ning Shi with undisguised desire, he still felt unspeakably annoyed. Director Sun bids 10,000. Anyone else? The auctioneer asked. 10,001 yuan. In the corner of the seat that was not covered by the lights, a person raised his sign. 10,001 yuan? I'm dying of laughter. How can there be such a price? Only 1 yuan. Who is this? The host didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but the other party didn't violate the rules, so he could only say, Mr. Number 8 bids 10,001 yuan. Director Sun frowned and raised his sign. 20,000. Number 8 continued to bid. 20,001 yuan. Director Sun gritted his teeth. 30,000. Number 8 continued. 30,001 yuan. These two people's bids caused a burst of laughter. Ha ha ha. I'm dying of laughter. Who is this number 8? Could he be Ning Shi's shill? This shill is too unprofessional. Who dares to raise the price like this? It's so embarrassing. Ning Shi's mouth twitched as she turned to Xiao Tao. Number 8 is our shill? Xiao Tao was stunned. Then she shook her head like a rattle drum and said excitedly, How is that possible? Why would Sister Gigi hire such a stupid shill? I just called, but I don't know what happened, but I suddenly couldn't contact our people. I don't know who this guy is either. Damn it. Could it be that Ning Xueluo planted him to cause trouble? It must be. This is too much. Xiao Tao almost exploded in anger. Ning Shi felt that things were a little strange. She turned slightly and looked at the corner of number 8, but the distance was too far. She couldn't see who the person was. In the end, even Director Sun didn't want to continue bidding in such a shameful way. He gave up bidding angrily, and the others naturally didn't bid again. In the end, Ning Shi's jade bracelet was bought by number 8 at the price of 30,001 yuan. The original price of Ning Shi's bracelet was 30,000 yuan, and the price that was sold was exactly 1 yuan higher than the original price. Everyone looked at Ning Shi with disdain. I knew it. An adopted daughter was an adopted daughter. Even the person he found was so blind. How dare he raise the price like this? What a joke. Ha 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 ha. That's right. It's the biggest joke in the world. Country bumpkins are ignorant. He hired someone, but he was reluctant to spend more money. That was the only way. Understandable. Understandable, ha ha ha. Ning Xueluo tilted her head slightly and looked at Changli with a delighted expression. She lowered her voice and said, Did you arrange this person? Well done. This Changli finally did something decent. Changli was actually confused. She had no idea where number 8 came from, but after hearing Ning Xueluo's words, she didn't deny it and could only laugh it off. Chapter 1197. Big Brother Yan, I told you that my sister would make arrangements. The price of my sister's necklace is not low. It should be about the same as the original price. Ning Xueluo looked at Su Yan innocently. Su Yan was glad that he didn't make a bid just now. Otherwise, he would be the one to be embarrassed, not President's son. Xiaoxi was still not experienced enough in dealing with these things. Until the end of the auction of the celebrities' donated items, Xiao Tao was still a little indignant. She almost left her seat and rushed over to see who number 8 was. Finally, Ningxi stopped her. If Xiao Tao went to number 8's side at this time, it would prove that number 8 was the person they arranged. Next, the second round began. The second round was the auction of the last 10 treasures prepared by the organizer. These were all treasures raised by the organizer from the society. The part of the auction that was higher than the original price would all be used for charity. Many political and business celebrities at the scene came for these treasures. The atmosphere became lively again. The auction was in full swing, and the prices of the items were also very high. Ning Xuelua bid for a pen made of pure gold, saying that she would give it to her father as a gift, which won a lot of praise from the audience. As for Su Yan, he didn't make a bid until the 9th item. The audience couldn't help but be a little curious and asked him, "What's wrong? There are so many treasures today. Did young Master Su not take a fancy to any of them?" "Yes, I'm waiting." Su Yan looked at Ning Xuelua next to him and smiled. Ning Xuelua also smiled shyly. As soon as he finished speaking, the host's voice sounded on the stage. "Now we will show the last item, which is also the last treasure of this auction. It is called Queen, and the crown is inlaid with 12 Colombian pear-shaped emeralds. The total weight of the emeralds is 600 carats. It was specially customized by Sarsi, the king of country Y, for Queen Eugenie. It represents his undying love for the queen. It was once auctioned anonymously by a private person for a high price of 30 million. This time we will auction it for charity." As soon as the introduction came out, everyone suddenly understood. It seemed that Su Yan had been waiting for this item. The two were about to get married, and this crown was obviously prepared by Su Yan to make the beauty happy as a token of love. "Sigh. My wife also has her eyes on this item, and she told me to get it today. But it seems like there's not much hope now." One of the rich young masters looked at Su Yan with a helpless expression. The other rich businessmen and celebrities who came for the crown also laughed. "No matter what, we have to give it a try." Many people had their eyes on this final treasure, and there were also a few who had come for it. At this moment, everyone was eager to try it out. Su Yan's expression was calm, as if he was determined to get it. The Ning and Su families had joined hands, and their businesses were getting bigger and bigger. Especially the Su family, their businesses had expanded overseas, and their financial power was astonishing. It was no wonder that they were so confident. Of course, there were also many powerful people present, and the competition for this item would probably be fierce. Even the auctioneer's tone was unusually excited. "Now let the auction begin. Everyone please bid. 20 million. All right. Now number 31 Director Zhao is asking for 20 million. Are there any more? 21 million. Number 56 offers 21 million. 23 million. Director Sun has asked for 23 million. Everyone knows that our crown is very precious, and there's still a lot of room for the price to go up. Anyone else? Chapter 1198. Because this item was very expensive, everyone was very conservative when bidding at the beginning. Not only were they lower than the base price, but they were also basically increasing the price by 1 or 2 million. The further they went, the smaller the increments became. Especially after the price exceeded the base price of 30 million. Everyone was even more conservative and cautious when bidding. This was because when the price exceeded the base price, it meant that the auctioneer might suffer a loss. Of course, because of the reputation of this item, even if it exceeded the base price by a little, the auctioneer would not suffer too much. Moreover, on such an occasion, whether or not they could successfully bid for it was a matter of face. No one wanted to appear weak in front of others. Therefore, the bidding continued. 38 million. One of the rich businessmen shouted in a hoarse voice. Hearing Director Sun's bid, everyone present was shocked and looked at each other. After a while, someone said, 40 million. Once the price exceeded 40 million, everyone's expressions began to waver. Because it had exceeded the base price by too much, It was not worth it even if they bid for it now. Therefore, there were only a few people left who were relatively strong and extremely interested in this item. Su Yan was one of them. 45 million. Under such a high price, it jumped directly to 45 million. There was an uproar in the scene. The auctioneer's voice was trembling with excitement. Number 60, Mr. Su Yan bids 45 million. Is there anyone else who wants to continue? Although the base price of our crown is 30 million, it is rare in the world. In order to get a higher price, the auctioneer began to introduce the reputation and value of this crown in various ways. After 45 million, there were only 4 people left bidding. In addition to Su Yan, there was also the rich businessman, director's son, who coveted Ningxi Zhao Haisheng, who was going to give it to his wife Ling Fei, and the last person was a little special. He was Su Yan's half-brother, Su Sun. Needless to say, Su Sun's reason for bidding was purely to compete with Su Yan. Anyone in the circle knew that Su Yan had a lung disease since he was a child. The Su family was afraid that he would not live past adulthood, so they brought this illegitimate son, Su Sun, with the intention of nurturing him as Su Yan's spare tire. Once Su Yan died, Su Sun would take over. Unfortunately, after Su Yan recuperated in the countryside for a few years, not only did he not die, his body actually recovered little by little, and he was finally brought back by the Su family. And Su Sun, who was originally being nurtured as the successor, suddenly became an extremely awkward existence. Right now, the two brothers were fighting fiercely with each other in the Su family. Unfortunately, Su Yan was the eldest son and was a legitimate son. Su Sun was in an awkward situation, but because of the connections he had accumulated in his early years, he could still fight. Under such an occasion, the two brothers started to fight. It was a great show. 46 million. Su Sun followed Su Yan's bid. Su Yan, 47 million. Su Sun, 48 million. Su Yan, 50 million. Su Sun, 55 million. As soon as Su Sun made his offer, many people present were speechless as they looked at him. This Su clan's second young master was really going all out just for the sake of venting his anger. Mr. Su Sun has offered 55 million. Are there any more? Mr. Zhao, would you like to continue? The auctioneer looked in Zhao Haisheng's direction. Zhao Haisheng scratched his head. Ahem, wait a minute, I have to call my wife. The crowd burst into laughter and ridicule. Chapter 1199. Ah, I'll wait for you then. The auctioneer laughed. Soon, Zhao Haisheng came back from the phone call and said with a smile, My wife said it's too expensive. Please continue. Mrs. Zhao is indeed a virtuous housekeeper, the auctioneer said with a smile. Then he looked at President Sunday. What about President Sun? Do you want to continue? 56 million. Sun Zhongping glanced in Ningxi's direction, as if he wanted to show off his strength to the beauty, and said proudly, 56 million. President Sun bids 56 million. Mr. Su, do you want to continue? The auctioneer looked at Su Yan and Su Sun with glowing eyes. Su Sun's face darkened. He had reached the limit of his endurance. If he continued, even if he won the bid, he would suffer a great loss. His remaining supporters would also have a bad opinion of him because of his irrational behavior. In the end, Su Sun could only grit his teeth and say, I give up. The crowd burst into laughter. Ning Xueluo also looked at him mockingly. Humph, he's just an illegitimate son. How dare he compete with Su Yan? How ridiculous. In the corner, Xiao Tao was dazzled by the fierce competition. She was so nervous that she almost forgot her anger just now. She tugged at Ningxi's sleeve and asked nervously, Sister Shi, who do you think will win the crown? Ningxi yawned in boredom. Who knows? It has nothing to do with us. What charity dinner? She had enough of watching these so-called celebrities and rich businessmen show off for a long time. She might as well donate the money to the people who needed it. But this was the business. She had no choice but to put on a show. No matter how much she donated or how much she did in private, others wouldn't know and wouldn't praise her. Of course, she did it out of her heart and didn't need to. 60 million was a hurdle. The winner would probably be decided soon. Ningxi packed up her bag, and was about to go home to sleep. Xiao Tao was still murmuring excitedly, "Although I don't want it to happen, I think Su Yan will still get it." Ning Xuelu already said that she came for the crown. The Su family is so rich. Sure enough, as soon as he finished speaking, Su Yan immediately raised the price. 60 million. 60 million. The auctioneer's eyes widened. Mr. Su has bid 60 million. Still no one continuing? Director's son, do you want to continue filming? Director's son? Sun Zhanping's face and neck turned red. He didn't speak for a long time. It was obvious that the price was beyond his means. It wasn't that he couldn't afford it, but as a businessman, he wouldn't spend 60 million just to buy such a thing, no matter how much he valued his reputation. The auctioneer also knew that this price was already very rare, so he stopped while he was ahead and began to shout, "Mr. Su Yan, 60 million once." At this moment, the audience had already begun to exclaim in admiration and congratulate Su Yan. As expected of the Su family, they are indeed rich and overbearing. Even Sun Zhanping is finished. Ning Xueluo is too lucky. If someone spent so much money to buy a crown for me, I would really wake up laughing in my dreams. Congratulations, young Master Su. You're really going all out for a beauty, haha. What do you mean by going all out? This small amount of money is just a drop in the bucket for young Master Su. Ha ha ha, that's true. Remember to invite us to your wedding. Su Yan humbly responded to everyone's compliments. In fact, he was secretly relieved at this moment. He knew in his heart that 60 million was already the bottom price in his heart. If Sun Zhanping continued to raise the price, he was afraid that he wouldn't follow up anymore. However, at this moment, listening to the crowd's compliments, his heart was still greatly satisfied. Ning Xueluo, who was beside him, intimately held Su Yan's arm. Her face was filled with happiness and sweetness. On the stage, the auctioneer had already begun the second confirmation. 60 million twice. 60 million thrice. As the voice fell, the auctioneer raised the auction hammer in his hand high. Once the hammer fell, the auction was unexpectedly completed. The audience held their breath, waiting for the moment when the hammer fell. However, when the auctioneer's hand that was hanging in midair was halfway down, in the quiet air, in an inconspicuous corner at the back, a sign with the number 8 was raised unhurriedly. 100 million. Chapter 1200. 100 million. The auctioneer was so shocked that he almost dropped the mallet in his hand. He managed to steady himself with great difficulty. He swallowed hard and stammered, Number 8 just offered a price of 100 million. Mr. Number 8 offered 100 million. Oh my God. Many of the guests were anonymous, and Number 8 was one of them. The auctioneer only knew that he was a man but didn't know who he was, so he just called him by his code name. After the auctioneer's voice fell, the scene was still dead silent for a long time. It was only after a long time that the crowd seemed to wake up from a dream and let out a series of gasps. There were even some people who stood up in excitement and looked towards the corner that no one was interested in. However, there seemed to be only one person sitting at the table in the corner. Moreover, it was against the light, so for a moment, they couldn't see who that person was. All they could see was an incomparably fair hand that was holding a sign. Oh my God! Did I hear wrongly just now? 100 million? Someone offered 100 million? Is he crazy? Who in the capital has such a rich and inhuman financial resources? Most importantly, who would offer such a high price in an auction? He's throwing money away for fun. Yes, he's throwing money away for fun. 100 million just for an accessory. Wait. That's not right. If I'm not mistaken, the one who just raised the sign is Number 8? Isn't Number 8 the shill of that little artist named Ningxi? Yes. I remember it too. He raised the price one by one just now. How did it suddenly jump to 100 million? What's going on? Not to mention the celebrities below the stage, even the auctioneer himself was dumbfounded. He had been an auctioneer for so many years, but this was the first time he had seen such a bid. It actually jumped from 60 million to 100 million in one go. The bidding was as if it was a game. In the end, the host wiped his sweat and ran up to remind the auctioneer. Then the auctioneer came back to his senses and continued his duty. He took a deep breath to calm down and said, "Ahem, everyone, please be quiet. We have to continue the auction. Just now Mr. Su offered 60 million, and the hammer hasn't fallen for the third time, so it doesn't count. Now, our distinguished guest number 8 has offered a high price of 100 million for the crown queen. That's right. You didn't hear wrong, it's 100 million. Now, does anyone want to continue bidding? Anything else?" The auctioneer was extremely excited as he yelled out a series of lines in an encouraging tone. In his hands, he actually managed to get an auction item at such a high price. This was definitely a great achievement in his career. After the auctioneer finished speaking, there was dead silence. The auctioneer subconsciously looked at Su Yan, who was already in the bag. The latter's face was obviously very dark. Being suddenly cut off, and with such a price that completely crushed him to the point where he couldn't resist, no one would be in a good mood. Ning Xuelua, who was enjoying everyone's envious gazes, turned pale. She quickly looked at Changli and asked, "What's going on? Isn't number 8 your man?" Changli was really confused this time. She had no choice but to tell the truth. No, actually I wanted to say, I didn't arrange number 8. I don't know who he is. Chapter 1201. What did you say? Ning Xuelua's face suddenly changed. If it wasn't Changli's arrangement, could it really be Ning Xi's shill? Of course, that was absolutely impossible. Then, who was this guy who popped out of nowhere? Not far away, Su Sun, who was sitting on a seat, was extremely pleased to see Su Yan suffer a setback. He glanced over and chuckled. Haha, do you really think that the Imperial City is the Su clan's territory? There's always someone better out there, and the Imperial City has no lack of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Don't think too highly of yourself. You. Ning Xuelua was angry, but she didn't have time to argue with him. She hurriedly looked at Su Yan and begged, "Brother Yan." It was already in the bag, and she had already told the reporters that she was determined to get the crown. Everyone also knew that Su Yan was going to use it as a token of love for her when they got married. Now that it had been snatched away in front of everyone, where would she put her face? Therefore, she naturally hoped that Su Yan wouldn't give up and get it back. Su Yan didn't want to show his weakness and lose face at this time. However, after receiving Ning Xuelua's gaze, he looked even more displeased. After all, it was 100 million yuan, which was almost double the price. He couldn't continue bidding, nor could he afford that much money. Ning Xuelua also knew this, so she whispered in Su Yan's ear, "How about I take some more?" Su Yan frowned. "How can I let you pay for it? Besides, the contract was signed on the spot after the hammer fell." What did this mean? It meant that it was easy for him to take out 100 million yuan. If he bid against such a person, it would only make things worse. Ning Xuelua clenched her nails into her flesh. Damn it! Who was this guy? What was his purpose? He jumped out at this time and ruined all her plans. Today was the first step of her wedding with Su Yan. How could such a thing happen on the stage? The auctioneer saw that no one responded, so he continued, "No more bids, right? Well, number 8, 100 million once. 100 million twice. 100 million thrice." Bang! The auctioneer finally fell the hammer and the transaction was completed. From beginning to end, Su Yan had not said a single word. The price was there, and there was no room for him to speak. Sun Jianpeng, who had been crushed twice in a row, also had an ugly expression on his face. Congratulations to Mr. Number 8 for obtaining the crown. Now let's welcome Mr. Number 8 to the stage to claim the treasure that belongs to you. Please. The auctioneer invited excitedly. At the same time, everyone below the stage craned their necks to look down. Could they finally see who that number 8 was? This person was obviously very wealthy, but just now, he deliberately raised the price of a small artist's auction item piece by piece. His actions were so strange that no one could guess what he was thinking. It was really too curious in the corner. Xiao Tao shook Ning Xi's arm excitedly. Oh my god, 100 million. 100 million. It was too scary. No matter who this person was, it was too satisfying. As long as it wasn't Ning Xuelua and the others who got it, it was fine. I wrongly accused that fellow just now. But this person is really strange. Why did he raise the price 1 yuan at a time just now to bid for your worthless bracelet, Sister Shi? Chapter 1202. Is it just because you like that bracelet? Oh, Sister Shi, I was the one who chose that bracelet for you. I didn't expect my taste to be so good, haha. Xiao Tao kept chattering in her ears, and Ningxi's forehead twitched. She didn't know why, but she had a bad feeling. Number 8's way of doing things, why did it give her such a strange and familiar feeling? Plus, when she entered the door just now, she seemed to have seen a familiar figure. Just when everyone's eyes were focused on the stage, a tall and sturdy bodyguard in a black shirt and pants walked onto the stage. He whispered something to the host and the auctioneer. Then he quickly signed the transaction contract, paid the money and left. 100 million. 100 million. He just casually paid and signed the contract. It was worth noting that when the man left, he didn't take the crown with him. What's going on? He doesn't want the crown anymore? The audience was confused. Then the auctioneer carefully held the crown with both hands and looked down at the audience, his eyes shining, and said excitedly, "Everyone, just now I was entrusted by the honorable guest number 8. It turns out that Mr. Number 8 bought this crown at a sky-high price to give to a lady below the stage. Mr. Number 8 is this lady's loyal fan." What? It's a gift? Fuck. It's a gift on the spot. Who is this beast? Spending 100 million to coax a woman. Loyal fan? Looks like it's a female celebrity. This idol chasing is simply outrageous. Fuck. Whose fan is this? He's so brave. I'll bet 100 yuan. It's Ning Xueluo's fan. Xueluo's fans have always been brave. Xiao Tao stretched her head to look, and as she looked she angrily muttered. Could it be Ning Xueluo's fan? No. Please don't. Please, please. If it's Ning Xueluo's fan, I'll kill myself on the stage. Ningxi was speechless. At that moment, the audience below the stage was almost drowned in discussions. Several famous female stars and movie queens, including Ning Xueluo, were all looking at them with burning and gossipy eyes. The auctioneer didn't announce until he was done with the suspense. The giver of the crown is Ningxi, Miss Ning. Just now, our Mr. 8 even bought the jade bracelet donated by Miss Ning. It can be seen that he is indeed a true fan. The auctioneer teased jokingly. He had originally wanted to liven up the atmosphere, but the people below looked as if they had seen a ghost. Their jaws and glasses fell to the ground. Fuck. Auctioneer, are you kidding me? Are you sure you're a true fan and not an anti-fan? In the corner, Xiao Tao's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. At the same time, Ningxi's phone suddenly rang. She received a new message. Dear, did you like the present? Sender. Cloud Radish. Ningxi pinched the space between her brows as she looked at the 3 words Cloud Radish that she'd personally changed back then. The veins on her forehead bulged violently, and her face alternated between green and purple. It was simply as if she'd gone mad. Congratulations. You, sister. She was thinking. This inexplicably familiar, crazy way of doing things, in the end, it really was that guy. Good night. There are a total of 9 updates today. Update is over. Continue to ask for monthly votes. Those who have already voted can vote for recommendation. Recommendation votes can be voted every day. Love Mud Cute. Kiss me one by one. Chapter 1203. Oh my God. Sister Shi. Sister Shi, did you hear that? That crown worth 100 million was actually given to you. It's for you. That number 8 is your fan. I almost thought it was your black. Seeing Xiao Tao's state, even if she didn't smash her head against a pillar, she would still be excited to death. Looking at the reactions of the others, one would realize that Xiao Tao was actually quite calm. Let's welcome Miss Ning to the stage. Hearing the host's words, the audience was in an uproar. It's Ningxi. How could this be? Shouldn't Miss Ning be referring to Shui Luo? Is there a mistake somewhere? Next, let's welcome Ningxi Miss Ningxi. The host probably heard the discussion below, so he specially emphasized Ningxi's name. Finally, no one questioned her anymore. The base price of this crown is 30 million yuan. Now it's sold for 100 million yuan, which means that this auction item has raised 70 million yuan for us. Miss Ning, you are undoubtedly the guest who has raised the most money for us in this auction. Thank you very much for your contribution to charity, and I sincerely wish your acting career will get better and better. On the stage, the host was enthusiastically complimenting Ningxi. Ning Shui's face was extremely ugly. She was completely overwhelmed by jealousy and hatred. No matter how hard she thought, she would never have thought that the person who snatched the crown was Ningxi. Ning Shui Luo was so angry that her entire body was trembling. When she looked at Su Yan, she had an extremely sad and wronged expression on her face. Brother Yan, why does my sister treat me like this? She clearly knows that I like this crown. She clearly knows what this crown means to me. Why does she have to snatch anything that belongs to me? Su Yan didn't expect this result at all. He pinched his eyebrows tiredly and said, Shui Luo, Xiaoxi didn't mean it. Didn't mean it? How could there be so many coincidences? When you proposed to me at the party last time, she used all kinds of means to steal my limelight, and now she did it again. She just can't stand me. I put up with her again and again, but she bullied me again and again. Big brother Yan, I really can't take it anymore. Shui Luo, no matter how capable Xiaoxi is, it's impossible for her to do this. She must really be her fan. Don't be sad, I'll prepare a better one for you later. Big brother Yan, why are you always speaking up for her? Is she going to snatch you away as well? Are you regretting being with me? Don't spout nonsense. In a black car, the moment a silver-haired man stepped in, Feng Xiaoxiao immediately rubbed her hands together excitedly. How is it? How is it? This move of mine is not bad, right? A hero saving a damsel in distress would definitely work 100 times. Little junior sister, are you especially touched? As soon as she finished speaking, the man's long and narrow eyes glanced at her coldly. Feng Xiaoxiao's scalp went numb from the stare, and she coughed weakly. What's wrong? The man casually tossed a black phone over. Feng Xiaoxiao hurriedly caught it, and looked at her phone. In the end, she saw this conversation. Dear, did you like the present? Oi, Joy, you, sister. Feng Xiaoxiao was dumbfounded. This doesn't make sense. Sorry my dear friends, I've written too much. Most of the time, it's not because I'm busy but because I'm in con that you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.